After staying at the top of the polls for 3 straight weeks, would the men's hockey team be able to hold on against 2 ECAC foes?
The women's basketball team has been on a tear recently. How did it fare against MAC rival Siena?
And the women's hockey team faced off against Cornell and Colgate. Would the Bobcats be able to keep their 20-game unbeaten streak alive?
In Q30 Sports, Dylan Fearon took a trip inside the men's basketball locker room to learn about the players' pregame rituals. All that and more coming up. Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports Paws. I'm Sierra Goodwill.
And I'm Victoria Rutigliano. Sierra, we are in the thick of it. The winter sports teams are hot and in the pursuit of regular season glory. Let's take it straight to the ice with men's hockey facing off against Cornell. This is the second time they played this weekend, first time in Hamden though. Let's see how they did. In the first period, we're going to see Quinnipiac's Landon Smith score a power play goal to give the Bobcats a 1-0 lead. That's his 8th goal of the season. Early in the second period, Cornell's Jeff Kubiak is going to wrap this one around the net and score. Gartig is just not fast enough for this. It is 1-1. But just 4 minutes later, Quinnipiac's Sam Annis is going to net his own power play goal from arguably one of his favorite places to score from to give the Bobcats the 2-1 lead. With just under 3 minutes left in the third, though, Cornell's Mitch Vanderlyn is going to score here. Let's watch it again in slow-mo. This goal was reviewed. Coach Becknold wasn't too happy about this, but it was ruled a goal, and this game would be sent into overtime. A few different Quinnipiac offensemen tried to net this one past Mitch Gillum, but he wouldn't let it go, and this game was tied 2-2. Rand Pecknold, postgame.
I thought we played well tonight. I thought we played hard, and I thought Cornell battled. I thought Quinnipiac and Cornell both good games tonight, and in the end, we need to score more goals.
I think it's just, kind of for us right now, I think it's just kind of get back to the basics, get excited about playing, and find motivation to, win games, because obviously we know that we're number one in the country, but, we gotta play it.
Quinnipiac played host again, this time Colgate making the trip to High Point Solutions Arena. Let's see how they did. Quinnipiac post-game trying to rebound from that tie the night before. Colgate's Kevin Lowe will enter the box, putting Quinnipiac on its first power play of the game. Sam Annis knows how to capitalize on that opportunity. He scores from the slot, a one-timer, putting Quinnipiac up early 1-0. Victoria, I don't know what this team would be without him.
He had a 5-point weekend. That's pretty crazy for just one player.
Yep, and Gartig on this next play will show you why he's a Hobie Baker nominee. He makes the stop on a one-timer. Quinnipiac will end the first period with a 1-0 lead. Early on in the second period, however, Colgate will come back. Ken Citron scores on the slap shot. It is a 1-1 tie. But now the defenseman Connor Clifton on the doorstep off the assist from Travis St. Dennis. Quinnipiac back on top, 2-1. Still in the second period now, though. Gartig can't quite make the split save here. It is all knotted up at 2. 5 minutes left in the second period. The freshman, Luke Shiplow, dangles, scores bottom right. Quinnipiac back on top. This time the score is 3-2.
That was a beauty.
At the end of the second period now, there's an 11-man scrum at the foot of the Quinnipiac goal. Colgate tries, but the shot goes high. Quinnipiac will have a 3-2 lead heading into the final period of play. In the third period, Sam Annis scores his second goal of the game, puts Quinnipiac on top 4-2, and this next goal is just the nail in the coffin for Colgate. Devontae's empty netter. Quinnipiac went on to win this one 6-3.
I'm more just focusing on team play, and I think tonight was a big win for us, and getting back to playing our game and getting 2 points. I think that was really important. We've been tying a lot of games lately, and whether most of the time we've been coming back, but last night Cornell scored late, so it was nice to have a lead in the third here and able to expand it, and I think that's important down the stretch.
After a 3-point weekend, the men's hockey team is not budging in the pairwise rankings. It sits at number 1 yet again. The Bobcats have won 59 comparisons this season and boast an 87.1 win percentage. Harvard and Yale are the only other ECAC teams who made the top 10, and they are tied at 9th. Quinnipiac is also the leader of the USCHO.com poll for the 4th straight week. North Dakota, Boston College, St. Cloud State, and Providence round out the top 5.
The women's basketball team has seen a steady increase in its performance this season. The team currently holds a 10-game win streak after dropping 7 of its first 12 games. The Bobcats have improved their points per game average by 10.5 points since their first 12 games and have allowed 3 points per less per game for their opponents. The team also has increased its field goal percentage by just about 10% since its tough stretch to start the season. Let's see how they did against Siena. So the women's basketball team headed up to Albany to face the Siena Saints. Let's see how they did. All eyes were on this Quinnipiac Bobcat squad as this game was broadcasted live to ESPNU. Quinnipiac dominated the first and second quarter, scoring 19 points to Siena's 9 in the first quarter, and then doubling Siena's point count in the second quarter, 20-10. They went comfortably into halftime, leading the Saints 39-19, with Paula Strauman scoring 11 points and Sarah Schuin netting 4 rebounds. Siena's Denisha Petty-Evans scored 5 of the team's 19 points, and the Saints had 4 different players make 4 rebounds. This point buffer was instrumental to the Bobcats' success because, as you're about to see, the second half wasn't as one-sided. The rookie Strauman currently holds the strongest three-point percentage on the team with a 53%, which is probably why she was named MAC Rookie of the Week for the second straight week. Heading into the second half now, it saw a huge change of momentum, with Siena outshooting Quinnipiac 16-11 in the third quarter and then 24-9 in the fourth. Q's Paula Strauman was able to finish this game with a boisterous 18 points and 8 rebounds, and Carly Fabry had 15 points in her 25 minutes on the court. Quinnipiac took this game from Siena 69-59 to increase its win streak to 9 games.
Traveled home to host Niagara at Lender Court. Let's get right to it. Niagara started off the first quarter shooting hot, especially from three-point range. You'll see that one from Tiffany Corselli. And then again, Jamie Sherbourne is triple teamed, passes to Kaylee Streppelmean, who hits a 3. Niagara leads 10-3 after that one. And again, Jayla Nichols on this next play hits another one from downtown. Niagara would go up 26-16 at the end of the first quarter. Starting off the second, Niagara looks to stay hot with this layup, but Quinnipiac would soon gain momentum, especially after this Maria Napolitano steal. She dishes it to Erin McClure, who will then pass it to Carly Fabry, back to McClure for 2 points. Quinnipiac only trailed by 3. Maria Napolitano passes to Morgan Mantz, who hits the tray. Quinnipiac now leads 36-28. 2 minutes into the third quarter, Niagara trying to come back. Tiffany Corselli hits 3. Quinnipiac cling to just a 4-point lead, but then on the other end, Brittany Johnson says, hey, I can do that too. Quinnipiac extends its lead to 7 points. Later in the third, Erin McClure posts up for Tiffany Corselli, who gets the open look on the layup. Quinnipiac now leads 55-43. At the end of the fourth quarter, McClure puts on the moves again, misses the first shot, but gets the rebound, puts it in. Quinnipiac would go on to win this one 70-52, extend their win streak to 10 games. Here's head coach Trisha Fabry post-game.
That this team has never gotten on its heels. There was still no real sense of panic. It was settled down into the corner. We gave up 26, but we were still just down 10 because we had scored 16. So we just took to the floor, buckled up on defense, and were able to really, get in the lanes, rebound the ball, force the turnovers, and then those turnovers in that defense, again, allowed us to get into our flow fastly and knock some shots and make some threes and then go on to a big run, big momentum shift, and then totally take control of the game.
When we come back, we'll see if the women's hockey team could keep up their record-setting unbeaten streak.
And we've got all the coverage on the men's basketball team's matchup with the Marist Red Foxes. Stay with us.
This week's trending topic is #that. We are your source for Quinnipiac entertainment news.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. The men's hockey team isn't the only team making a mark on the ice. The women have been consistently sitting at the top of the polls as well. Let's jump into their games this weekend, starting with Cornell. So the women's hockey team traveled to Ithaca, New York to take on Cornell. Could they keep their unbeaten streak alive? Let's check it out. 2 minutes into the game here, we're going to see Cornell's Christian Higgins scoring here, getting it just past Sydney Rossman to give Cornell the 1-0 lead early to start off this game. But just a minute later, Quinnipiac's Danielle Marmer is going to score here from center, with a wide open net back behind the goaltender to tie this game up 1-1. Late in the second period now, Cornell's Christian Higgins is going to take a shot, but Sydney Rossman, this is an easy save for her. She keeps the game tied. With just 1:18 remaining in the second period now, Quinnipiac's Kristen Tamberg is going to put one in the net to give the Bobcats the 2-1 lead heading into the second intermission. Early into the third period now, Quinnipiac's Melissa Samoskevich is going to take it from her own blue line, and she's going to score here to give Quinnipiac the 3-1 buffer. And then, with just 5 minutes left in the game, TT Sanfrano is going to make probably the most beautiful goal I've seen so far this year to give Quinnipiac the 4-1 lead. What a beauty, and they win this game 4-1.
The next day, Quinnipiac traveled to Star Rink to face off against Colgate. Let's see how they did. Heading right into the first period, Colgate gains possession, skates into their offensive zone, trying to set something up. Jessie Eldridge makes the beautiful pass right to Anika Zalewski's tape, who scores past Sydney Rossman, who couldn't get her left pad out there in time. Colgate skates to the early 1-0 lead over Quinnipiac. Heading now right into the second period, Colgate is on a power play, shoots from wide. Sydney Rossman makes the save, but the rebound found by Bailey Larson, who will get it to Bree Wilson, who's able to settle it, find the back of the net. Colgate is now up 2-0. But just 5 minutes later, this time Quinnipiac on the power play. Nicole Connery finds Megan Turner, who nets one, cuts Quinnipiac's deficit in half. Colgate leading now 2-1. Just 1 minute remaining in the second period, Colgate's Olivia Zafuto scores off a pass from Bailey Larson. It is 3-1 Colgate heading into the third period. Quinnipiac has some serious ground to make up in the final period of play. Third period now, only above 8 minutes left. The Quinnipiac offense scrambling to make something happen. Nicole Connery will find Alicia Berry, who will score top shelf over Ashlyn Rando. This is her first goal of the season, but unfortunately it's just not enough. Colgate will go end up winning this one 3-2, snapping Quinnipiac's unbeaten streak. They hadn't lost since Halloween.
The women's hockey team ranks 4th in the USCHO pairwise after splitting its weekend with Cornell and Colgate. The team currently holds an 86 win percentage. Boston College continues to dominate the top spot as it is still undefeated in the NCAA, boasting a 29-0-0 record. Sitting right below BC is Wisconsin, who only has 1 loss this season and holds a 95 win percentage. We'll now bring on one of our women's hockey beat reporters, Andrew Weiss. He's going to break down what he thinks are the top dogs in the ECAC. Andrew, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Victoria and Sierra. It's always a pleasure being here on Sports Paws. Now time for my ECAC women's hockey power rankings. Starting it off at number 5, we have Harvard. Now, Harvard was a team projected to be a lot better this season, possibly in the top 3 in the country. However, they're not even in the top 3 of my ECAC power rankings. So there's a little bit of a concern there for any Harvard Crimson fans out there. Star goaltender Emerence Mashmeyer pulled after the first period in their latest game, 8-0 loss to Boston College. Over the weekend, tied Brown, the second worst team in the ECAC. That's a cause for concern if I'm a Crimson fan. Now moving on to the 4th seeded team here, we have Colgate. Now, Colgate defeated Quinnipiac this Saturday in a great game. Sierra and I watched that. A lot of action, a lot of intensity from this team. That could be a dark horse in the ECAC, and they could be a spoiler come tournament time. You have to watch out. They've been a little bit inconsistent, but if they can find their rhythm, especially after this huge victory, then you need to be careful of the Raiders. Now, moving on to number 3 team, we have the Princeton Tigers. I had Princeton second for a very long time, especially during winter break. They had come on a really, really hot streak, hotter than the weather outside. However, Princeton cooled off just a bit this past weekend. The weekend before that, they also lost to Harvard, a team that's struggling a lot more than they are, and so they dropped 1 spot to the 3 seed. However, it's still a very dangerous team, top 10 nationally, something that a lot of ECAC teams have to watch out for. Moving on to the number 2 team, we have Clarkson. Now, Clarkson's been a team that a lot of people aren't exactly sure about, don't know a whole lot about. Now, let me tell you something. Clarkson is an absolutely fantastic team, led by Kaylee Mercer, one of the best players in ECAC, let alone the country. This is a team that could surprise a few teams nationally and win the whole thing, the whole shebang nationally tournament. These teams can score goals. They can keep you off the score sheet. Big game this weekend against Quinnipiac that you have to tune in to watch, because this is going to be 2 teams that are going to be great come ECAC tournament time. Now, leading off to the number 1 team, we have the Quinnipiac Bobcats. Now, Quinnipiac's program record point streak did snap this past Saturday, as we mentioned, against Colgate. That said, they only have 2 losses on the year. Sydney Rossman, in her first year as a starter, has been fantastic, setting the program record for longest shutout streak, while Taylor Cianferrano and Melissa Samuskevich are 2 of the best players in the ECAC, a dynamic duo that puts up points faster than any team in the nation. You have to be careful if you're playing against the Bobcats. Now, Cass Turner's squad has been a little bit problematic, especially on the defensive side starting off the year. However, they've fixed those problems, and if they can maintain a hold against Colgate, if they can try to win games like they have been the entire season, then they will become the ECAC victors.
Thanks so much, Andrew. Now let's make the transition to the hardwood and see how men's basketball fared against the Marist Red Foxes. Marist traveled here to Hamden to face off against Quinnipiac at Lender Court. Here they are pre-game. Quinnipiac looking for their 3rd straight victory. Let's head right into the first half. Coming into this game, Danny Harris was hot from 3-point range. That didn't stop here. He puts up Quinnipiac 7-6 early. It was a little bit of a back and forth game early on though. Here Marist drives to the basket, the layup is good, but on the other end, Aaron Hutton will give Quinnipiac the comfortable lead, 19-11, with this 3-point jumper. Donovan Smith makes 2 consecutive blocks here, but Marist able to regain possession, knock down the jumper, kind of gain a little momentum here, especially with that 3-point shot. But then all of a sudden, it becomes the Andrew Robinson show. The freshman Maryland native comes off the bench, scores a career-high 15 points, hitting 5 threes, tying his total number of threes he had the entire season before this game. With this impressive showing, he led all scorers. He was hot from all areas around the arc. And in the words of DJ Khaled, here it is, Victoria, another one. Quinnipiac heads into the second period with a comfortable lead, but look at this, his twin brother also bangs one home from downtown. This is his first collegiate bucket ever. What a night for the Robinson brothers. Quinnipiac will go on to win this game against Marist 79-53.
I feel like they have good nights, you know, like Andrew Robinson goes to bed now tonight, just feeling better. Coach Calhoun used to talk about that all the time when we were at UConn, like, you know, we can now go up to Albany and we can realistically say, like, when we get into a hopefully quarterfinal game, semifinal game, whatever, a tournament game, we could say, hey, if someone zones us and we get Drew out there, he could go for 15, 16 points or whatever, make 4 or 5 of them. Why? Because he's done it now in a college game.
When Sports Paws returns, men's basketball beat reporter Dylan Fearon will give you a behind-the-scenes look into the locker room.
And of course, a Sports Paws signature, the top 5 plays of the week. Which teams made the cut? We'll be right back.
This week's trending topic is #that. We are your source for Quinnipiac entertainment news.
Thanks for sticking it with us here on Sports Paws. This just in, Quinnipiac men's basketball lost at St. Peter's 68-52 to snap a 3-game winning streak. Now Q30's own Dylan Fearon got the chance to talk to a few of the men's basketball players about their pregame routines inside the locker room.
Every time we talk, it's always about a game or after a game. But today I want to talk about what happens before the game. What kind of pregame rituals do you have? What are some things that you like to do before tip-off?
Individually, I know I can speak for myself. I usually like to be the last one getting dressed, because I feel like if I'm dressed so quick, I'm like, we don't start for like another 2 hours. Like, why am I so early with everything? And if I do get dressed early, it's funny. I always like leave one shoe on, and that's my right foot. And I sit there like this the whole time, like till it's time to like get ready.
I like to like when I can, I get some shots in like before we do all that stuff, or get extra like dribble drills in, or like work with somebody else and dribbling or something. I mean, just warm up.
I like to get my mind straight, know what I have to do mentally. Sometimes I like to watch film so I can remember what I have to do during the game, especially against opponents. You know, some guys have different things. They might listen to music. You know, some guys get an ice bath and play music, or you know, duly praise, and I pray too. So it's different things for different players.
Like right before the game starts, they call lineups. I do the little rim hang, pull up, but that's about it as far as rituals go.
Some guys like to listen to music before the games. What kind of tunes do you like to jam out to before tip-off?
Let's see. First person I listen to probably is the Migos. Yeah, they got Migos, either Fetty Wap. Yeah, shout out to Fetty Wap. He coming to QU.
A lot of times I probably listen to a little R. Kelly. The guys know I probably listen to I Believe I Can Fly, you know, the Space Jam stuff. You know, it's, little childhood stuff that I always listened to when I was little. My dad always got me into a lot of Nas, and I know I can. You know, motivational stuff, so I know that by the time I get into the game, I know I'm able to do what I do and believe in the talents that I have.
Let's talk about one thing we both love, food. What's something you like to eat on game day that just gets you right and it just feels right?
When I wake up, always have to have a bowl of Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the first thing. Chicken, vegetables, pasta, rice, something very healthy. Grilled chicken, most likely, with like, you know, squash and all type of vegetables in there.
When they announce the starting lineups and you guys are giving handshakes to each other, Greg Tark is out there giving his handshakes. What are some of the handshakes you like to do with some of the guys? You know, things like that.
I do a little hand over the sleeve. You know, that's kind of important to me. You know, the sleeve is important, like symbolically. I feel like it's like, you know, the strap. You know, I got the gun, I'm ready to shoot a ball. You know, and that's what I come into. So when Tarkin hands it over, I'm ready to go.
Greg and I had a handshake where we just did the dab for a while. Now he just like pats me down like for weapons or something. So it changes from game to game maybe.
Can you give us your best dab?
My bad.
When we come together as a team and we can do stuff like that, like have handshakes, that just shows like how we're stuck together, you feel what I'm saying? Like the chemistry between us is very solid.
When they call my name, I like to like scream, like just to wake everybody up, wake myself up, wake the crowd up. And like individually, you know, it all depends on like who everybody is and like who they are to me. So we all like different handshakes. I know as a team, collectively, like when the five is out there, we tend to like just hook elbows just with each other, just to make the just like let us know like, yo, it's time to go. Like, let's play ball.
The women's indoor track and field team continued its season at the ECAC Invitational, that's a mouthful, at Yale University. The Bobcats' 4-man relay team broke a program record in the distance medley relay, coming in second place of 7 teams. Leah Fommer won the long jump event with a season-high 5.51 meters. On the second day, Jessica Lee stood out to continue to coming in first place in the 60-meter hurdle event. Kaylee Roberts commented in and won the 1,000-meter dash for the first time in her collegiate career. The Bobcats will travel to Boston next weekend for the Valentine Invitational.
The men's tennis team traveled to Providence on Saturday to face off against the Brown Bears. It lost the match 4-3 despite Jonas Kuert and William Van Buysen picking up the first points of the day by winning 2 out of the 3 doubles matches for Quinnipiac. The Bobcats have nearly 3 weeks to get back on track. Their next game is not until February 26th, where they will road trip to Philadelphia to face off against St. Joseph in Temple.
The Sports Paws Bobcat of the Week goes to Sam Annis after an impressive weekend for the junior forward. Annis tallied an assist and a goal on Friday night against Cornell. Then against Colgate, the Maryland native scored twice and added in 1 assist to give the Bobcats the 6-3 win. Annis now currently holds an 11-game point streak and a 5-game goal streak. We're now going to take it into one of the best times of the night, the top 5 plays.
Victoria, it's your favorite time.
That's what I hear. What were Q30 Sports' top 5 plays of the week? Let's check it out right here. Play number 5 is men's hockey versus Cornell. Sam Annis had 3 different goals to choose from this weekend, but this is the one we picked. Here it is again in slow motion. That one's a beauty.
Coming in now at number 4, we've got some men's basketball for you. Andrew Robinson hits his 5th three-pointer. You saw it earlier, a career-high 15 points that night.
And then for number 3, women's hockey versus Cornell at Cornell. Alicia Berry scoring her first goal of the season, but it wasn't enough because they lost the game 3-2.
More basketball action. Marist shoots. Donovan Smith says, "No way, not in my house." Dimitri Flores takes the ball down the court, passes it to Abdoulaye Bundu, who throws it down.
And the number 1 play of the week, I don't think anyone was wondering what it was going to be. TT Sanferano making a beautiful hop here, scoring the goal. That should have been on SportsCenter Top 10. That's all I'm saying.
Clearly, there were some great plays this week from all the winter sports teams, but with playoffs coming up, the stakes are getting higher and higher for everyone. Here are Q30's games to watch for this upcoming week. As I mentioned before, the women's basketball team is rolling right now with 10 straight wins. A game to look out for is its matchup against number 1 Iona on Friday. With a win, Quinnipiac could move up to 2nd place in the MAC. Freshmen Erin McClure and Paula Stradamain have been standouts for Quinnipiac lately, both averaging over 20 minutes per game. The two combined have won the last 4 MAC Rookie of the Week awards. It will be interesting to see how they will match up against an experienced Iona squad and players such as Joy Adams, who shine in important matchups.
Make sure to tune in next week because the women's hockey team is facing off against ECAC rival Clarkson in one of its most important games of the season. Clarkson currently sits right behind Quinnipiac in the pairwise. The Golden Knights also sit 1 spot below the leading Bobcats in the ECAC standings. Quinnipiac has a chance to clinch the conference regular season championship if they can seal a victory in both games next weekend. Well, that does it for this week's episode of Sports Paws.
It's always a pleasure to sit next to another female on the desk. Love to see women anchor sports, am I right?
You love to see it.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Q30 Sports for live hockey and basketball game updates.
And visit our website at q30television.com to stay up to date on all things Quinnipiac sports, as playoffs are just around the corner. For Sierra Goodwill, I'm Victoria Rutigliano. Have a great night.